it's going to be fun to learn some of your tips and tricks and tidbits and everything that you've learned over the years that you can share with our followers.
Yeah, and also I'm probably one of those really random weirdos who like going to sex party as a single guy, and is I find that extremely fun. So I can't wait to share some of those tips,
Yes, because what's so interesting is that can be really kind of overwhelming sometimes for single guys. Well, I mean,
for
even
couples too, yeah,
couples,
single women,
single women, yeah. So it's so great to have someone who can come at it from more of an excitement standpoint than that kind of scared, anxiety-ridden, what's going to happen.
Yeah, and overcome those really big challenges. I remember giving myself a prep talk, right before I went to my first play party solo by myself, and I called one of my best friends trying to get a locker room, like pump up before you run into the field kind of conversation. And since then, it's been so long ago, but I remember that anxiety, that fear, that overcoming that.
Yeah, so that's going to really be a good thing to talk about tonight.
And so, everyone that's with us right now, I want to introduce Kenneth Play. He's an international expert on female pleasure, and he was named the world's greatest sex hacker by GQ and Men's Health. He had a lot of years, 15 years of experience as a personal trainer. He leveraged the best of that physics education model to re-envision sex education, and he's now helped millions of men gain sexual competence through rapid skill acquisition. And he's going to touch upon a little bit of that tonight and some other things. Kenneth, did you have anything you want to add to your amazing bio?
I want to start with I'm probably the world's most unlikely sex educator out there. I came from a really insecure place. I was petrified, being in those sexual situations where I was exploring. So I really want the audience to know that is how I overcome those anxiety, overcome those challenges is what I really want to share.
Well, and that's what makes you probably one of the best educators, is because you're going to know what you're talking about, right? You've had the experience.
Mm-hmm. And when we were talking in the green room earlier with Kenneth about one of the most common questions we get from both single men and couples when we're at the club, we get it through emails, we get it on comments on our YouTube channel. They want to know how to meet a couple. How do we go about broaching this group of people that's over there talking with each other that seems like a clique? Or, I'm going to a club and how am I going to, as a single man, how am I going to meet a couple? Give me some tips. That's what they ask of us. And we have ours, but we really want to hear from you how to overcome that fear of meeting other people, meeting someone new.
Yeah, there's a lot of tips and tricks from business networking for introverts. It depends if you're extrovert or introvert, right? But there's definitely some strategy that you could put in place. I think more than anything, if people go in there with a very goal-oriented, trying to take from the situation, they're usually not going to be as successful. But if you come into the situation wanting to contribute something, I think it makes it a completely different, energetic, the vibe that you bring into the table is completely different. So I think the first thing for a lot of people is that if you approach a situation with something to contribute, that's completely different.
Can you say that again? I love that about, instead of just trying to take, but to give. Just say that again.
In any business networking thing, if you just go up there and you're trying to sell yourself immediately, people are annoyed at that, right? So I don't find it any different in a sex positive community when people are trying to explore their sexual situation. If you only dare to take something from somebody, they feel it immediately. So if you go in with the intention to give, what can I contribute to this situation? What can I contribute to this group? Then you're much more well received. And people are reciprocity, indebtedness still is running through our DNA, right? So if you foundationally, if you don't work with that mindset, then I'm not teaching you how to be a pickup artist at a swingers club, right? I want to pick up couple, because that makes you that guy again. And even if you have some short-term success, it's not going to be sustainable, right? Because people will feel do that.
I mean, that is huge. That's like huge news, right? I mean, I would wager that most people watching this are, their mind is blown, because it's like, wait a second, I'm approaching this completely backwards, right? I'm trying to take something from this instead of what am I giving to it? I love that. I love that. How did you learn that?
It's, it's funny. I remember when I was like deeply sexually insecure, I was always such a like horny kid and so sexual. And I wanted to kind of find myself. Like I went to one party by accident and it kind of blew my mind. I opened Pandora box and I wanted to join the community, but as a single guy, it's really challenging. It's like like this feeling, and then you also get some negative vibe right from the get-go, because so many single guys are like so thirsty. So you have to overcome the stereotype first, right? Not just like just being in that position. But what I learned back in any community or industry, the first thing one of my mentors taught me, go make friends. Like, don't trying to go get something from this community. If you could make 10 friends, genuine 10 friendship in a community, then you will have enough connection that will get you into the core group. So if you go in and actually try to make friends first, it was really helpful. And the second thing is have something to offer. That's why sex skill is so useful. If you have actually, like, if you know how to tie someone up, you know how to give a good spanking, if you know you have something to give, right? Then you have like, you have something to go like, I have an idea. Would you like to try this? Versus it's like going in the kitchen when you don't know how to cook. It's kind of, you got to bring a dish, right? So there's a little bit of that. And I have like very specific sex hacks and social hack that I like to share with people too. Yeah.
I know for me, when I've had some interaction with single men, is sometimes they can tend to have this kind of Casanova demeanor, like, well, they're going to really almost to the point where I don't care if they're Casanova, because it's kind of arrogant almost. And so like,
I think that that energy is, I'm also I coach a lot of couples live, right? So I'm dealing with someone been married for 15-20 years, and my job is not there go like, well, husband, let me show you how to fuck your wife better. Like, that is not my energy, right? So if you come on with that attitude, that ego, it doesn't help the situation. Is more like, I mean, each couple has their own agreement, their own dynamic, and how they like to negotiate. Your job is actually be more of asking questions and figure out if they're, what do they desire? What is something that you have to give in that situation that they desire? Maybe you find out that husband really like to watch, but you wouldn't have known that if you come in the situation with that, I want to fuck your wife better than you in front of you, but maybe that thing is actually a turn on for that guy. Right? Then you go like, yeah, I love doing that. Yeah, it's so amazing that pleases you. She is so lucky to have you. Like, that's the right approach. So it is same situation, but completely different context.
Exactly. So like, when you are in a situation like that, can you just kind of role play us through how that happens for you, or how that unfolds? Like when you walk into a space and you find maybe a couple that you find interesting, what do those conversations look like?
I love giving specific. It's about like, ultimately it's about acquiring the skills of the people on this webinar. Like, one of the key things is